Welcome back to your newest favorite podcast, Beards and Bitcoins, where BitBoy and J-Chains get together each week to talk about crypto and things happening in the community. They will bring you some special guests and giveaways, so make sure you're subscribed. For all show-related news, you can find the guys on various social media outlets. Everything is listed on the official show Twitter account, @BeardsBitcoins. Now, without further introduction, two dudes that have beards, like Bitcoins, and want to talk to you about both, BitBoy and J-Chains.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 36 of your favorite podcast, Beards and Bitcoins. We got a special episode today. We're going to be doing a cryptocurrency show. We're going to be talking about one specific coin. As you guys know, I am a partner node on the IOST network. So we are talking with Terry from IOST today. I'm your co-host, BitBoy. That is J-Chains. What is going on, J-Chains?
Hey man, good to see you. It's been a little bit.
And it's been a couple hours, let's be honest.
Yeah, but nonetheless, man, good to see you as always. And Terry, look forward to learning all about IOST. I know BitBoy's talked a lot about it, so excited to dive in and learn some more and see where this is all going.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So first, just tell everybody who you are and kind of what your role is at IOST and how long you've been there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Terrence. Hey, everyone. And I'm the co-founder and CTO of IOST right now. So I've been here for like forever. Okay. We started this project in 2017. And at that time, so you probably have met Jimmy before. I think Jimmy has been on this podcast. Okay. So me and Jimmy and some other guys. So we went back from America to China and we started all this. So for me personally, I'm a computer scientist I'm a computer science researcher for like a long time. So I used to study at University of Minnesota and Chicago and Princeton, and I actually doing a PhD in the distributed systems. And later I find out that like industry is actually more advanced in like my field than academia. So I jumped out of academia and I went to the Silicon Valley and I worked at Uber for 2 years. And after that, I got excited about crypto. So I went back to China to start my crypto project. So right now, we have been doing this for like more than 1.5 years. And we just launched our mainnet. So right now, like everything is going on with the mainnet. And yeah, so that's about it. And yeah, pretty excited to be here. And yeah, really honored to interview.
Yeah, awesome. So that was really interesting what you said that basically, you know, and this really lines up with something I've said. Like, I don't think there really are experts in cryptocurrency at this point. You know, it's still such new technology and it's really hard for people to learn this on the fly. And, you know, that's funny that you said that like colleges and academia, you know, have not caught up to the real world application of what's happening with, you know, just, decentralized systems and things like that. So was that hard for you? Like, you know, kind of, I guess, stepping in the work world and realizing that you weren't as prepared as you thought you were?
Okay, so not too surprised, I would say. Okay, so I really agree with your point that I don't think there are any expert right now in the field because this field is too short. So think about if you say like math or philosophy, so those fields has been there for thousands of years, right? Yeah. Like say computer science is been there for about 80 to 70 years. So that's the field probably, you know, like there's a long time and extensive research and study and there are some experts, but for crypto, it's just within the last 10 years. And yeah, so in a really, really short time. So the field is pretty new and in its baby period. Yeah. So certainly no experts and everything. And there are new things coming out all the time and like every day. And also things are also changing and evolving. So coming out of college, so I actually went to be a software engineer at a startup. And yeah, so everything is, so for that period, it's okay. You know, like it's just writing code like at different places and writing like different kinds of code. Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me too much. But when I went back and started my company, so So that's a bit different from working like in a big company, and there are many issues to deal with. But right now, I'm pretty happy. Like I jumped out of this like a large company and started my own business. So it's pretty exciting.
That's, that's really cool. You bring up the point about academia and like, I mean, colleges, there's no way that they could catch up into this because who do you hire as professors, right? There's like you said, there's like math and science. These things have been around for thousands of years. Crypto's been around for, not nearly that long. So at one point, do we finally find people that are qualified enough to start teaching people on the academic level about this? I mean, it's going to be at least another 10 years, I think.
Of course, totally agree with you. Yeah, like actually, right now there's not that many like at school who offer this course, and for the school they probably just like they have the professors who is teaching either computer science or cryptography, and they're kind of teaching this crypto things from the other field, and have extension like being made, but not as crypto as a whole.
So you and Jimmy know each other. Like, were you guys living in the United States? Is that where you guys met each other?
No, I actually we were like the friend. He is the friend of my friend, and he used to be in New York, and he went to Silicon Valley, and I'm also in Silicon Valley, but we are in here at different times, so we haven't met each other before we came back to China.
Oh, really?
But so the friends referred us, and we just find out like we could seriously build something together. So why not? So we just went back. So that's the story.
So what kind of gave you guys the idea to start this company? What was it was just like you guys were ready to move on and do something new, or kind of, in my mind, like IOST is great. Like it's a incredible platform right now. And I'm just very interested in like the beginnings of it. How did those conversations go where you guys got ready to, pull out?
So very interesting about us is all the co-founders of us studies computer science. So we are all like, we know, we write code, and we are pretty familiar with what Bitcoin is before we started this. Like for Jimmy and me, we have also like mined Bitcoins before. So I have started my server. I actually built my server, and I also use my server at the lab of my school to mine some Bitcoin. So that's some fun things we did. And later in 2017, like when we are trying to find something we can do, it takes really a long time, and many of the fields is pretty established, and there are like not many opportunities, but crypto seems pretty new. And also because we are in this computer science field for a long time, so there's some edges we can leverage, and we just started this. And actually from the very beginning, we are like not thinking of going very big, so we're doing a pretty like small projects with all my friends, and we can do something fun about it. And after that, like it seems it can grow, it can get bigger, and it can get funds, and later it just grows to the current stage. So it's like so it's kind of a pretty at first we have pretty like not a very solid idea about what we should do, and we started this as a try, and so it just grows and just gets bigger.
Did you kind of start looking around at some of the other projects that were, kind of really getting going at that time? I mean, obviously Ethereum was already, had already gone through a fork and all kinds of stuff. Tron was getting ready to start in 2017. EOS with their $4 billion ICO was getting ready to start. Did you guys kind of look around at a lot of these other projects and say, what can we do to separate ourselves, and what can we kind of borrow from each one of these systems that we're seeing in these different projects to kind of, make the ultimate, decentralized platform?
Of course. So actually the real story is at that time, Tron has absolutely like, it's not formed. So people like don't know what Tron can do and what Tron really is. At that time, like Tron hasn't figured that out yet. And also for EOS too. So EOS at that time, mainnet has not been launched, and actually the white paper and the code has not been like very ready. So at that time, there's only Ethereum. So what we can do is improve on Ethereum. So at that time, a big problem actually right now still is with Ethereum is a scalability problem. And as for me, like I'm coming from like the field which deals with scalability for a long time. So the very first thing come to mind is just to solve the scalability problem of Ethereum, as that's why we started the project at the beginning.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So it's kind of a direct reaction to, basically Ethereum getting all clogged up.
Yep. That's the very initial thought. Yeah. And it just goes out and we find out that there actually can be more things doing it, such as like you can increase the level of decentralization without sacrificing the performance and the speed. And also you can make it more secure. So lots of things has been added in. But it all started with the idea of to making Ethereum more scalable. That's actually just like a big like a open problem in the field, like a research problem or like an industry problem. So yeah.
What do you think about Ethereum and its scalability problem? Do you think Ethereum's going to be able to solve its problem? Because like on one hand, you've got, tokens are now moving to launch on different platforms. All of the big tokens that were on Ethereum's chain have now moved to their own pretty much. Right. There's some in the top 50 that are still there, but now with Binance Coin, nothing in the top 20. And it doesn't seem like they've done really that much to really actually upgrade. If we were to have a huge bull run that were to come soon, I think they're still going to kind of experience those same problems. But yet at the same time, we've got Samsung coming out today saying that they're possibly going to be creating an Ethereum, based token. And then, a lot of TA is pointing towards Ethereum might go on a big run here. So what are your kind of overall thoughts on Ethereum and its place in cryptocurrency?
Yeah. So, so Ethereum actually has some problems for its core engineers and have like a very union view on how to development. Okay, so first, many of the core members left, and also like it's really hard to reach consensus for their own for what to do. So there are different views saying, hey, we should do this and we should do that. And right now, I think so first, some of the ideas for the first initial members has been changed a lot, and that has postponed the scalability proposal for a long time. So right now, like they used to said, like it can be done by this year, and has postponed for 2 years, especially with the sharding challenge. So for sharding, I think so it has been came out like 2 years ago. But at the level of Ethereum, because there are many things they are focusing on, so this has been, So the research and the real edge work has been shifted without a very union focus and effort being put into it. So so also like the ICO round in 2017 and in the early 2018, they also puts aside with this focus. But for us, like we just think you can. So if you're trying to solve the scalability problem, then that should be the solely thing you are focusing on. And so that's probably will put you like in a more speedy pace for get this going. So that's some of the things maybe can be improved in Ethereum. And I just feel like that.
So, and what in terms of sharding for IOST, where does that kind of fit in? Yeah.
So right now, like we think the very fundamental problem with the scalability is actually the design of your consensus, and that's the first thing to solve. And then you can do like the sharding. So we are solving that problem first. So we are like so after some research, we roll out our consensus, which is POB, and we can support lots of the nodes with the same decentralization as a sovereign level grade, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum. So right now, you are one of our node, and we can support thousands to tens of thousands of nodes while keeping the TPS to about 1,000. And the reason behind that is we are using the rotation for the committee, and after you met a certain period, after you have been done a certain period in the committee, you'll be rotated out, and the people with the higher score will be coming in, and they do the rotation, their score has been cleared, and they'll be going out. So we have been making this process to make this pretty decentralized and making the community small in order to have the confirmation time of the transactions being made pretty quick. So that's some of the things we think is the first and most pragmatic way to solve the scalability problem. For the sharding, that's still in our research, and there are some of the things hasn't been pretty made. There are some issues with the infrastructure of the Bitcoin right now. So many of the protocols hasn't been established well to fully support state sharding. So that's something I think lack the fundamentals of the infrastructure to support. So the current point is, I think, making the consensus support scalability well, and then develop the very infrastructure to support such consensus along with the state sharding. And that's, I think, is the right approach to approach. Not with something which most of the chain does, is first think about we should do sharding and reinvent the infrastructure without changing the consensus.
So how do you feel like the we're getting real technical today.
Wow.
Okay.
JJ is over there like what?
We need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of the consensus, like you launched the mainnet, it's been launched since February.
Yep.
How do you feel like just in general, how do you feel like it's going with, the consensus and all the different nodes of the community working together? Are you guys like trying to let that run for a while and figure it out exactly how it's going to work, and then try to figure out how to put the sharding, implement the sharding into that? Is that kind of what you're saying? And if so, what have you guys been seeing so far?
Yeah, so right now it's actually going pretty well. So right now, I think the speed, the growth of our nodes is getting more faster than before. And right now, we have around 280 nodes has been joined. And initially we just have like a dozen of nodes. And right now, we're even thinking about lower the bar, because right now we have a 2.1 million bar to be a node. But we are thinking about lower the bar to probably 1 million or even lower to make this network like truly decentralized and truly open to everyone. So everyone can be joined as a node, and everyone can get an incentive to moving forward. So that's the thing we think is a pretty good design, and it works with this crypto mechanism. So people can join as a node, people can contribute to the network, people can get the rewards from their contributions, and everyone can be joined. It's the permissionless network, and many of the people can benefit from this, because every node can make like a pretty vertical contribution, such as you are making podcasts, and that's pretty great. And some of the guys can maybe make some DApps integrations. Some of the guys can be DCs. Some guys can run communities. Some guys can do media and PRs. Yeah. So that's the thing we feel is probably the most the most important part of our whole network. And right now it's running pretty well. So there are some of the proposals we're thinking about to make an improvement besides lower the bar. So any of the feedbacks are welcome from you guys too. Yeah. So we just want to improve on our consensus and all this whole system, and like welcome more guys to join us.
Yeah, that brings up something very interesting that I've been thinking about. Obviously, I was tier 1, so I've been making a lot of content for IOST. Yeah. So excited to we got a conference call here pretty soon. Going to get to speak about creating content on IOST and things like that. But do you
12 hours or like 11 hours, right?
Yeah, pretty soon. Well, actually, I think this will be out on Monday though. So we're speaking to you from the past. But so what do you think about, okay, so you lower the bar and let's say you put it at 1 million. Are you guys concerned at all about basically people kind of looking at IOST as kind of like a payday instead of actually wanting to be part of the community and the network? Because I mean, there's people out there that tomorrow could start a node who have huge YouTube channels, not even necessarily in crypto, but, maybe even in other arenas, and then could just kind of like use their followers and, just talk about IOST and try to get higher on the tiers and stuff just based on how many followers they have. Like, is that something you guys have thought about, that you guys have, kind of planned for? That, like, if we go in a bull run and, like, let's say IOST goes up to $1 and those quarterly rewards we're talking are astronomical, is that something you guys have considered?
Okay, so first, I think because like the true spirit of blockchain and all decentralization is like it's a pretty open world, so anyone can. So for that thing, we have no reason to deny anyone who meet the bar and who want to be a node. And for the assessments, so first, so the users can see what they're doing and like choose to vote for them or not. And also, so we are thinking about making this truly decentralization. So right now it's still like all our community members and some of the foundation members, we sit together, we look at all the contribution reports, and we keep out the rating and the pay. But in the future, maybe we're thinking about making this process even a decentralized process. So by the contribution rating and the rewards can be solely depends on the community and all the users from IOST. So if we have enough users and we have a good process for this can be a truly decentralized process. And anyone who is, who to get what level of the contribution rewards and who deserve the rewards can just be determined from this very decentralized process. So the people who really benefit from the people who make a lot of contributions, of course, they will be voting for all the good nodes and they'll be getting a lot of rewards. And for the guys who just came here without doing anything, it will be leveled out. I mean, it will be kicked out from this process. So that's something we're thinking about.
Was it stressful? Was it stressful trying to come up with the tiers?
Kind of, but it's better than we thought. We thought it would be pretty hard. There'll be a lot of complaints. There'll be a lot of guys who come to us, and many guys who didn't get into the top tiers, they will be pretty mad. But it actually turns out it's actually not as bad as that, because people who have a pretty clear view, most people who has a pretty clear view of what they did. So the people who think they did pretty well, they actually get their rewards. And the people who didn't do really well, they know they didn't do pretty well.
They didn't do all they could.
So it turns out good. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I put a lot of work into it, and I was on tier 1, so I was happy about it. So and I like that you guys said you take. It's not just like pure numbers based. Because you could have people coming in, creating content, having bots. Have 100,000 views on a video and none of the people were real, So I like that you guys kind of take into consideration kind of every aspect. And, after a certain period of time of this kind of grading, I guess it would kind of make sense maybe to pass that off to the community. So, because I mean, that's where you really see where the value is. So,
right. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea? Because right now we are still thinking, and
well, as long as I stay on tier 1, it's good. Whatever they do. No, but seriously, I do think that's actually a really good idea. Because if it's truly decentralized and you've got a team of people that work for IOST that are having to grade not just the volume of the reports, but the quality of the reports and the quality of the content, there's really no way to do that scientifically. So it would definitely be putting, some people's, subjective feelings about different things, maybe, and of course not intentionally, but, maybe one person likes, educational videos while another person likes more news videos, and it came down to those two, then that person with that preference would choose the preference that he likes, not necessarily what truly was the better content. So, if you open it up to the community, I think that takes a lot of pressure off of the IOST team from having to do that. So, I mean, that's what I've thought about. I've literally sat here and thought man, I wonder what it's like in that room where they're sitting there debating over, who should be on what tier and stuff like that. So,
yeah, it takes a time. It takes a long time, one aspect is it's pretty hard to compare all different nodes from different regions, different fields, and they submit their reports in different languages. You even have to translate all the language into English at first, and then you have a pretty run of every nodes to compare. So it's a pretty lengthy job, but it's challenging and exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh.
What do you think, Jay James?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Hey, I think your crypto world, I mean, the crypto, like, the words on your t-shirts, is that like Star Wars style?
Yeah.
So crypto movement, it's crypto apparel for the crypto enthusiast.
Oh, nice. The tagline.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's a clothing company here. They used to do some stuff with the show. Cool guy. But yeah, they do also. He's got like the Stranger Things, Netflix. He's got a bunch of designs.
Look at that. He threw you a softball so you could talk, man. I love that.
Oh man, thank you.
God, yes. So good. Hey, so I want to ask you this question. I got like just a few more questions, and we can probably wrap it up. Where do you see IOST in the long term in the landscape of decentralized platforms? Obviously, we've got Neo that's kind of out there doing its own thing with ontology. Then we've got obviously the big ones, EOS, Tron, and Ethereum. We've got I think VeChain talking about they're trying to build their ecosystem and things like that. Where do you see? Do you believe the IOST has the potential? Or let me remove that part. Do you believe IOST can become the #1 decentralized platform?
We can pretty sure we can be the top 3, and because right now something I see this is blockchain is kind of different from many of the things because it has a lot of the verticals. So especially for the 2C and 2B markets. So there are different, very different use cases for blockchain, and it requires a lot of the integrations with that specific field. So say if you are in this traceability and field, and if you are say in this 2C gaming and the apps field, so that requires a lot of the infrastructure being built on different levels. So to that point, there are no one chain fits all thing, and very things are different. So Ethereum, of course, is very different from Bitcoin. And if you dig into the details from us, we're pretty different from all the other blockchains. So that's the value we have, and that's the thing essentially stands out for all of the top blockchains in my view. And for us, we have so right now we are pretty looking forward to have this the utility and the non-gambling game dApps at the first beginning, and also we are looking forward to expand to some of the use cases to small and medium businesses. So that's some of the special focus we have, and it's pretty different from all the other blockchains. So there are so many blockchain small and to medium business owners. They need a pretty new way to get their incentivization and the system model being blockchainized. So that's the value we see we have, and also that's something we can so we are good at, and other people who haven't dig into too much. So I would say there be a lot of chains being left. So that's the thing. So it's not like one guy take all thing.
Yeah. So you said top 3. So right now the top 3 are Tron, EOS, and Ethereum. Which one are you kicking out?
Okay, so we think we are better. Okay, so it's pretty hard to predict. Okay, right? Because if you look at 2 years ago, none of these are there. Maybe Ethereum is, but Tron and EOS is very stage. So it's pretty hard to say. If you're looking 3 years or 5 years, I would say the top 10 list or top 20 list, they probably will have a completely new change.
Yeah, that's definitely something we see. You know, we see everything rotate through, and it's weird though because you always feel like when you're looking at the list, you're like, I don't know, this list is pretty good, you know. But then, sure enough, you know, over the next two or 3 years, it will look totally different. You got some that stay up there, Ethereum and XRP and Bitcoin, obviously. But yeah, I think the landscape's going to look a lot different in the future. I'm really excited about the fact that we have a lot of these platforms coming to fruition and where they're actually mainnets and they're working, dApps are being built. I'm really looking forward to when the focus is more on building the dApps on the platforms instead of making a platform, ICO in order to just make a quick buck, because that's what it seems like a lot was going on over the last couple of years.
Okay. So so those two things doesn't conflict, and it can be all supports with the dApp. Okay, so the dApp can be a game, the dApp can be the ICO thing, and after all of this are actually pretty natural to come because we are actually a general purpose platform. So all kinds of things are pretty welcome, and it doesn't conflict.
Awesome. Well, what about last question I wanted to ask? Did you have a question, Jay Chains, you wanted to ask?
No, I was just agreeing. I was saying that sounded great.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for your contribution.
I love when we do these. I love when we do these really smart projects, man. You are about 1,000 times smarter than I am, and I've got a lot to learn.
Don't say that.
well, Jay Chains, you're obviously a tier 2 interviewer here. Okay, I took tier 1 here. This is tier 2. Yeah, well, I've done a ton of research into this project, so I know it probably better than almost anything else. So
absolutely, and that's why we're running with it.
Pretty glad to know this. Okay, so you have know everything, all the articles, the papers, and everything you have read.
Well, I read a lot of stuff. I wanted to know when I first got approached.
That's quite nice. That's super nice.
when I got approached by Crypto Beatles, he was the one that kind of referred me to this partner program and told me about it. And I'd actually done a review on IOST about a year ago, maybe a little longer than a year ago. And if you watch the review, what I said is, man, if they can actually do this, it's going to be amazing. Now we'll have to see if they can do it. And what you guys have done since then is stayed really ahead of the curve. You guys have stayed ahead of your roadmap compared to almost every project has been lagging behind or having complications and things like that. Has been, from the outside looking in, relatively smooth. So I wanted to make sure if this is something I was going to get involved with, even though I was already kind of favorable to it. I wanted to understand it the best that I could. And I'm doing daily news videos where I'm including an IOST story every day. So I'm always kind of up on, the latest stuff that's going on. So speaking of the latest stuff that's going on, so there was a tweet put out a couple days ago by Jimmy, and it said that the Oasis was going to be rebranded and going to have a new name. He said it was going to be something to do with magic, I think, if I read that correctly. And and
coming out in this 2 days. Yeah.
Okay, but the tweet got deleted. He deleted the tweet. So what happened? Was it kind of like supposed to be a surprise? He let the cat out of the bag, and was the reason for the rebrand because of the popularity of the movie Ready Player One and the confusion with the Oasis?
Yeah, actually not a rebrand. Okay, so Oasis is still Oasis, and under Oasis there are different things are coming out. So that's the thing. We have to make it pretty clear. So right now I would say Oasis is still keeping its name, and Oasis is going to launch its first secret weapon. So in this 2 days we'll be setting out and we'll be rolling out the announcement. So be prepared for that.
I'm excited. I can't wait. So what happened with the tweet? The tweet was just worded incorrectly, and that's why he deleted it?
Just because of the wording. So it's not a rebrand.
Yeah, so it's not a rebrand.
Others are still the same. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I was just going by what it said. I thought maybe you guys were changing it because I know when the announcement was made about Oasis originally, and the name, I know the Medium article tried to tie it into the metaverse of Ready Player One. And so I don't know. I thought maybe that was a little confusing for people because Oasis is not the metaverse, right? It's not a video game world.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe part of it.
That's one of the reasons we actually came up with that name, because I think Oasis first is pretty cool. And so the platform we are launching has a gaming function. So that's something the ties it has, so that makes Oasis probably a good name, and I also like your name. I also like that band, so that's the reason.
And here in Atlanta, we have a strip club called the Oasis. So
Yeah, there's so many called Oasis. Yeah, so I like it.
you
So
got one over
guys are
there
all in
too, JJ?
Atlanta?
We got an Oasis.
I actually don't know that. So you are in Atlanta, both of you?
I'm in Atlanta, and he is in Austin.
Austin, okay, but it's all hot and good place. I mean, right now, like Beijing still is freeze. It's pretty freezing, but I guess
Really?
you guys are like, pretty, the weather should be pretty nice in Atlanta and Austin right now.
Yep,
Oh,
it's nice and warm.
South by Southwest thing this year.
Yep. Always, yeah. It's a cool time, a lot of fun. It's they do the interactive and the music and the film, so it's a good time.
All right, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us, Terry. We've definitely learned a lot about IOST from you, and I like that you guys are very confident, and that you guys are, you guys all have computer science backgrounds and things like that. I think that's going to be very helpful, and we're just going to have to see how this thing goes.
For sure, yeah. Really great talking to you, and thanks for inviting me to come to this. I mean, hope you guys can give out more exciting podcast and good promotion of us. Because in the future, like in the Q2 and Q3 and all the rest of the quarters, we're all looking forward to look at your podcast and everything.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we've actually been talking about maybe getting our own, podcast node going and maybe doing meetups around the United States. Might be kind of cool.
Totally could, yeah. You could do this around America, I think.
Yeah,
we'll take it around the world.
Take it around the world. Ooh, international.
We do. I was checking our stats the other day on SoundCloud. We have stats in 50 plus countries, so we got people listening all over.
Nice.
If you can grow a beard, then you would like our podcast. No offense. Sorry. So, all right, Terry. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you get back to your day. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Terry.
See you guys. Thank you.
That's right.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening to Beards and Bitcoins. If you like what you heard, show these guys some love and rate review on SoundCloud or iTunes. Also, remember you can always find the guys on social media. The show Twitter page is @BeardsBitcoins. You'll find direct links to BitBoy and JChains from there. Make sure you check for updates, announcements, and contests. Good luck to all who enter. See you next time.